Greetings, all! Today, we will be examining the relatively common grass poison-type Pokemon Budew, the Bud Pokémon, its equally common evolution Roselia, the Thorn Pokémon, and its relatively rare final evolution Roserade, the Bouquet Pokémon. Though they might appear to be gorgeous to look at and a wonder to smell, the members of the Budew family are dangerous creatures that can more than put to good use the toxins in their body to eliminate anything that would dare to try and get even remotely close to them.
Budew have a fairly small green form with a dark green bib of material marking the lower edge of their face as they stand on two small greenish-yellow legs for locomotion, their face being of a similar color with a small mouth and slit-like black eyes. The top of their form curls in a spiral shape to form a large bud with light green patterned tips, which can open up in good weather to show a red and blue seed pod on each arm, normally kept hidden to keep them from being easily damaged. Their evolved form, Roselia, have light green legs and face with eyelash markings on the slit-like eyes, as well as a darker shaded calyx dress that is larger in females than in males, with a yellow streak running down the center. The top of their head is adorned with a trio of large green thorns, and the light green arms are attached to a pair of large rose blooms, the left bloom being blue and the right one red, giving them an overall beautiful appearance. Their final evolution, Roserade, have a similar form compared to Roselia, complete with red and blue flowers, but their flowers have multiplied and copied themselves to form large bouquets of the flowers with 3 on each arm, and their dresses changed form to resemble something more akin to a cape, though with the same general differences separating males and females. The tips of their feet have a gilded gold color with a gilded ring of material on their neck, and their heads have sprouted a thick mat of white hair that helps to frame their gilded eyelids and red eyes, granting them a majestic appearance as a whole. The members of the Budew family are notably different from most other plants in that, while they technically are supposed to be born with their flowers fully developed and blooming, in certain cases, this is not at all what happens. The presence of certain aromas can trigger a toxic reaction within their cells while they are still in eggs, preventing them from properly growing into adulthood immediately after birth, and in turn leading to them to be born as Budew instead of Roselia.
The bud on the heads of Budew actually contains the seed pods that are supposed to develop into the flowers on Roselia, and since their growth is stunted as a result of the toxic shock, they are extremely vulnerable to damage and are only revealed when the weather is favorable.
This mutation does not have a significant impact on their overall growth, but it can pose a problem to the survival of these creatures in harsher environments. While stuck in this juvenile state, they are essentially defenseless, though they at the very least have the ability to utilize an absorb attack in growth, worry seed, and stun spore techniques. Furthermore, it seems that the aromas in question only come from a select few types of flowering plants, which, perhaps not coincidentally, only occur within a small number of regions in the world, even if they are often favored ingredients for incense in the form of rose incense. Regardless of the form they take, these plants are noted for their toxic thorns, and while they are most prevalent in Roselia and Roserade, as a whole, they are present in all members of the family and contain different toxins that can prove fatal in the worst of cases and ultimately make these creatures a serious threat in close quarters, even if they are more gifted offensively and attacking from afar. At the same time, the aromas that they give off are said to be extremely calming and powerful and great for curing ailments, though in most cases this only serves as a useful lure to get others to come near them so they are in range of their toxic thorns.
This, along with their ability to restore themselves to a neutral status in conflicts over time, is what allows these plants to have Poison Point and Natural Cure as base abilities. And while the general positive response to sunlight allows Budew and Roselia to also have Leaf Guard as a hidden ability, the more combat-focused attributes of their final evolution Roserade instead allows them to have Technician as a hidden ability.
In looking at their stats, in the case of Roserade, it can be seen that these creatures are not very gifted when it comes to physical attributes and lack much in the way of serious stamina, but they more than make up for this with impressive special powers and deceptive speed. As such, while the base HP attack and defense stats are below average for a fully evolved grass and poison-type Pokemon, the base special attack, special defense, and speed stats are above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, additionally having the highest base special attack stat out of all grass-type Pokemon, tied with Executor, making them a terrifying threat to have to face on any battlefield when at range. Budew usually live around sources of clear water, basking in the warmth of the sun and enjoying their lives without having to do much of anything as they slowly grow and develop. When exposed to the warmth of the sun, Budew freely open the bud on their heads, releasing pollen as they do so. While useful for propagating their species, the pollen is somewhat toxic and can give just about anyone a runny nose or make them sneeze, with its toxicity increasing the cleaner their primary water source is.
This is pretty much all that Budew do in the wild, as because they are still technically infants, their abilities and powers are rather limited. While they can possibly possess the poison point ability, this is about as dangerous as they can be unless they are taught strong attacks and techniques through artificial methods or breeding.
This can make them difficult to train and work with in battle as well, especially since they tend to only evolve into their normal semi-adult state when they feel an extremely close bond with their trainers in the daytime, though the wait can be worth it in the long run. The only other significant feature that can be mentioned is that Budew are highly sensitive to temperature. During the winter, Budew can do little more than bury themselves in the ground and wait for spring to arrive, and are thus almost completely absent from view during these colder times, serving as a symbol for the true arrival of spring once their bud opens up again. The flowers on Roselia are recognized worldwide for their incredible beauty and elegance, hence the popularity of these Pokemon in contests. The coloration of the flowers is mostly dependent upon the water that Roselia drink. The cleaner the water, the more vivid the coloration, with many linking said water also to the creation of their shinies, which are surprisingly prevalent and were among the first shiny Pokemon to be noted of and seen in ancient artwork and literature. In addition to being beautiful, the flowers are also valued for the fragrance given off by their pollen. Unlike the toxic pollen possessed by Budew, Roselia pollen is extremely efficient at relieving common ailments and symptoms. How the pollen is actually able to do this is still a bit of a mystery, but it appears that it heightens the immune response within life forms that breathe it in, helping to fight off infections and disease at an accelerated rate. As such, the aromatherapy technique of Roselia is highly potent and grows in strength as Roselia become healthier.
In battle, this can prove to be advantageous for Roselia, as the scent of their flowers relaxes foes and makes them careless, giving Roselia the opportunity to strike with their toxic thorns.
Although they are quite small, Roselia are made extremely dangerous in close quarters combat as a result of the toxic thorns hidden within their flowers. These thorns are directly connected to their nervous system, which allows Roselia to manipulate them and fire them at their opponents from a distance. The venom contained within their thorns is incredibly potent and can be more than lethal if too much is injected into an opponent's bloodstream. Moreover, each flower arm of a Roselia contains a different type of primary toxin in their venom. Their blue flowers are filled with paralyzing toxins that target muscle systems, while the red flowers are filled with neurotoxins. The reason for this differentiation is not known, but it is possible that Roselia purposefully possess two separate types of primary toxins as a way of minimizing the number of life forms they accidentally kill with their venom, as their paralyzing toxins can be much easier to treat before they become lethal compared to their neurotoxins.
As such, it is a very bad idea to get close to Roselia without heavy armor or protection, as the thorns are capable of easily penetrating soft flesh.
Roselia are normally unable to evolve at all because they are already present in their adult form. When exposed to the radiant energy of a shiny stone, however, a radical mutation occurs within their cellular structure that causes them to replicate themselves at an extremely rapid rate, essentially causing Roselia to produce duplicates of their original form while still living in one body. The fusion of these copies produces an organism with a radically different anatomy known as Roserade.
This radical mutation causes a significant increase in power and overall combat potential and allows them to utilize moves that Roselia normally could not, such as the rare grassy terrain and venom drench techniques and the hyper beam and giga impact attacks through artificial means.
Roserade are recognized as graceful but deadly fighters that specialize in using their potent toxins and their method of deliverance as their primary weapon. Hidden within the mutant congregation of flowers on each of their arms are numerous whip-like tentacles, each covered in a thick layer of venomous thorns. By using the sweet aroma given off by the flowers as bait, Roserade can easily lure prey in close enough to entangle them in a makeshift choker of toxic thorns with the graceful movements of a dancer before tightening their grip and releasing their venom deep into the target's bloodstream. The venom within Roserade is even stronger than that of Roselia, making them a far more lethal threat to both humans and Pokemon alike, and they still contain different primary toxins in their arms, the blue flowers primarily being filled with slow-acting paralyzing toxins and the red flowers with fast-acting neurotoxins. The toxins in both arms are concentrated enough to be near fatal from a single strong jab, unless an opponent possesses thick armor, and even then opponents are not guaranteed to be safe from their deadly toxic technique. The only surefire way to know how dangerous a Roserade really is the aroma given off by its flowers, as the smell given off is actually vaporized venom. The sweeter the aroma, the more concentrated its toxins will be. Regardless, these plants are not to be underestimated under any circumstances, as the immense power they possess, despite their small stature, makes them a dire threat to anything that isn't somehow immune to their deadly toxins and or resistant to their natural grass-type powers.
Though they might look and smell too nice to be seen as a serious threat to some, the members of the Budew family are potent plants that can easily incapacitate and even outright kill anything that gets too close to their toxin-laced forms. You may have to get close to them to make the most of them from an infant stage, but these plants can still make fine additions to any team looking for some grass or poison-type power to add on.
Just do yourself a favor and try not to get on their bad side. Every rose truly does have its thorns, and these roses are more than willing to give a life-threatening prick to anything that doesn't respect the beauty and elegance they might otherwise command from onlookers. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always an honor to be able to speak with you all on the subject of Pokemon in a way that brings me great joy and happiness in my work. If you would like to keep tabs on past and future work, click that subscribe button, check out my work on DeviantArt, and don't be shy about following me on Twitter, where you can find pertinent announcements on upcoming work before it is officially posted. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you would like to support my work and help Miguel and I continue to produce more content for you and improve upon our presentation, please visit us at my Patreon page, which you can also find a link to in the video description.
Yeah, no.
With that, I thank you for watching and I wish you well.